Hi guys, let's do yoga. So in today's class, we are going to be exploring functional movement through yoga. Now, if you're wondering about functional movement, maybe you've never heard of it, maybe you've never done it before. Functional movement is moving your body in 7 different ways. And those 7 different ways are squat, lunge, push, pull, hinge, twist, and walk. So during this yoga sequence today, we're going to be exploring those 7 functional movements which make up the patterns that your body relies on to get things done every day. So we're going to start our class today in a standing position. So go ahead and come onto your mat. And as you come onto your mat, if you've got a couple of blocks, invite them into your practice today. They'll be helpful if you need the support. Now, as we come onto the mat, let's go ahead and take a wider stance. Feet are going to go much wider than the hips. Coming into a goddess squat, we'll send the toes out, heels in, and we'll just start to bounce the knees. Start to soften, and then eventually bend the knees deeper. And as you come into this squat, let your palms rest onto your thighs. Now from here, you might just shift from side to side, feeling into the hips, noticing how your hips feel today. If you'd like an extra challenge, you can lift your toes. You can also open the feet wider if you notice that that's available for you, or you can bring the feet closer in. So for my body, it feels really good to have my knees positioned above my ankles. Continue to open side to side, just gentle little micro movements here. Say hello to your hips. Make sure your hands aren't pressing onto your knees. Now, with your torso at center, take an inhale breath. Reach the crown of your head up. Make sure your chest isn't dumping forward. And as you exhale, take one shoulder forward. Inhale back to center, and then exhale opposite shoulder. Each time we inhale, torso finds center. Each time we exhale, opposite shoulder dips. Let's take one more each side. So we're getting a squat and a twist. We're already working with 2 of the functional movements out of the 7 in our very first pose. Now, once you make your way back to center, you can press your feet to the mat, straighten the legs. As you inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees, back to the goddess squat. Inhale, straighten the limbs. Exhale, bend. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend. Good. Now maybe you stay here for a couple more rounds of breath and really feel the legs activating. So now we're building strength. I know it's a lot of work, so go ahead and press out, let the arms come down. Now we are going to use the assist of the wall if you've got a wall space near you. We're going to make a box shape. So as you come up to the wall, you want to bring your hands to the wall, making sure that you have enough space to send your hips back. Now, if you don't have a wall space available, maybe you invite 2 blocks onto the mat, position the blocks underneath your hands, and then work with making this shape here. So if you're at the wall, hands come to the wall, feet step back, hands walk down the wall. So now we're hinging at the hips. You decide what feels good to straighten those legs so that you can open up the hamstrings. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, you might start off with a little micro bend, and then maybe you play around with straightening one leg as the opposite knee bends. Working our way to straight legs, hands on the blocks, or hands at the wall. If you feel confident in the free space, maybe you're just lifting the arms up and reaching the crown of your head forward. Now from here to come out, bend the knees. Take your hands to your thighs. So the knees are bent. Look down, make sure that the knees aren't going past the toes. The arms are straight. We're gonna take a cat-cow movement here to move through extension and flexion of the spine. So now your hands are pushing to your thighs. As you inhale, open your heart, send it forward. And as you exhale, bring your belly button to your spine. Feel the back round. Inhale, open the heart, send it forward. Exhale, round the spine. Feel a nice stretch in the back and in the shoulders. And continue to move through these two movements. Opening the heart on the inhale. Rounding the spine on the exhale. Now from here, press your feet to the mat, come into standing. If you've got blocks in your way, you can move them out to the side. So from here, we're gonna come into a lunge position. Go ahead and bring your feet to the top of the mat. You can start off with your hands at your hips. Now shift weight into your left foot. Step your right foot back. Crescent lunge. You're on your right toes. The right heel is lifted. The left knee is bent. Now in the crescent lunge, we sweep the arms up. We gaze forward. The left leg is leading. So from here, we'll transition the arms to reach the right arm forward, left arm back, taking an optional twist in our lunge. Lunge and twist, two functional movements. Feel the strength in the legs. And as you inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, use your energy to step your right foot in line with your left. Take your hands back to your hips. Take a full round of breath here. Shift weight into the right foot, right leg, and then pick up the left foot, step the left toes way back. Set it up. The left heel is lifted, the right knee is bent, and it's tracking above the right ankle. Now, setting up for our crescent lunge, reach the arms up. Feel the opening at the front of the left hip. Keep a bend in that right knee. And then from here, open the arms so that the right arm comes back, left arm comes forward. Twisted lunge. Stay and breathe here. Now on your next inhale, take the arms forward. Exhale, use your energy to step the left foot in line with the right. Back to your standing pose, take a full round of breath. As you exhale, let it go. And then make your way to the middle of the mat. Now this next one is one where you might want to come over to a wall space if you're having trouble with your balance lately. If you're not having trouble with your balance, then you can stay in the free space. So we're going to work one leg at a time. Set one foot down, spread the toes, position hands at the hips. Now as you inhale, lift your knee, and as you exhale, just tap the big toe down. And then inhale, lift, exhale, tap. We've got one more. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap. Now let's add on. Inhale, lift, exhale, open the knee. Inhale, take it to center. Exhale, tap it down. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, it's center. Exhale, tap it down. Last round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, it's center. Exhale, take the foot down. Now, as you take the foot down, shift weight into that foot. Lift the opposite heel. Keep the toes grounded and just draw circles with the knee. Just getting rid of any tension we might have created in that foot. Circle around opposite direction. Good. Now, standing leg stays as our foundation. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, tap just the big toe down. Inhale, lift the knee in line with the hip. Exhale, just tap the toe down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap it down. Now we add on. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open the knee, external rotation for the hip. Inhale, bring it back in. Exhale, tap it down. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open the knee. Inhale, find center. Exhale, tap it down. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open it up. Inhale, find center. Exhale, take the foot down. Shift the weight into the foot. Now lift the opposite heel. Draw circles with the knee, few times in one direction, and then a few times opposite direction, also working with ankle mobility. Now bring both of your feet on the mat. Distribute the weight equally between both feet. From here, we're going to take a half lift and a forward fold. So as you inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips. Take your hands to your shins. Half lift. Maybe the legs are straight, or maybe you bend your knees if your hamstrings are tight. So you decide what's appropriate for you here in this half lift. Reach the crown of your head forward. And then as you exhale, fold. Let the upper body move towards the lower body. If this is too much for you, you can maintain that half lift, or you can use your blocks for support. Now, if you're in the forward fold, stay here for a couple more rounds of breath. Let the back of the body open up. Keep the hinge in the hips. And now let's move between these two postures. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Feel the hamstrings opening even more. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And we'll take one more. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees and slowly roll up. Take your time. Head is going to come up last. Carefully bringing the head up last to prevent us from getting dizzy. And we arrive in Tadasana, our mountain pose. Now from our Tadasana, we're going to take a standing twist. Feet stay hip distance. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now as you exhale, keep the hips pointing forward. Reach the left arm forward, right arm back. Focus on just moving the arms and shoulders. Inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, take the left arm back, right hand forward. Inhale, take both arms up. Exhale, right arm back, left arm forward. Inhale, both arms come up. Exhale, left arm back, right arm forward. We've got one more round. Let your movement follow your breath. Back to center. Exhale, sends the hands down. Now, while we're here, we can shake out the shoulders. We can inhale, lift the shoulders to the ears. Exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Maybe a couple more. Just reminding the shoulders to send away from the ears. One more time. And then we're going to practice walking as a functional movement. But with the walking, we're going to incorporate some smart movement. So let's start at one end of the mat. You choose where you want to start. It doesn't matter because we're going to go in both directions. Start off with your feet together. Now from here, just like we did before, inhale, lift one knee in line with the hip, and then exhale, step it out to the side. Shift the weight into both legs. Inhale, lift the opposite knee. Exhale, take it down beside the foot. And then again, inhale, lift the first knee. Exhale, step it out wider than the hip. Shift the weight between both legs. Inhale, second leg comes up. Exhale, take the foot beside the other foot. Continue to move with your breath. Inhale is a lift. Exhale, step it out. Transition the weight between both legs. Keep moving. So remember, movement following the breath. Inhale is a lift. Exhale, step it out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, step it down. One more. And we just make our way until we find our way to the opposite end of the mat. From here, we're going to take it back over. So inhale is the lift. Exhale, step it out. Shift the weight. Inhale, lift. Exhale, set it down. Move with your breath. Feel the strength and power in your legs. Know that you're moving in a way that's very safe and smart for your body. So enjoy this time of movement and connection with your physical body. We're almost there. Let's take one more. All the way to the end of the mat. And let's stay and pause here. Inhale through the nostrils all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. All right, we're going to take it back to the other end and then back. This time we're going to take some ankle crosses. So whichever leg you have furthest away from the center of the mat, lift that foot, take it behind the opposite ankle. Give yourself a moment to get adjusted here if you need to. Then you'll uncross and then do it again. So the same leg is initiating the cross and you're crossing behind the ankle of the other leg. Making your way to the other end of the mat. Squeezing in one more if you can. Maybe taking a pause and a round of breath here. And then open the feet out. So now we're going to start on this side, making our way back to the first side. And now we're initiating with the opposite leg. So lifting the leg that's furthest to the end of the mat, crossing it behind, and then the leg that's in front is going to step beside the foot. And then we do it again. Take your time. There's no rush. This is a video. We can always pause it if we need more time, if your pace is different than mine. If your pace is faster than mine, then maybe you double up and go back another time on the mat. This is totally up to you. All right, so then we end up back to the mat, back to where we started. From here, let's inhale, lift the arms up, keep the feet together. Now, as you exhale, go ahead and hinge over to one side. Wherever your arms land, send the hips opposite direction. Open the heart. Top bicep is above the ear. And then on your next inhale, lift the fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hinge in the opposite direction. Side bending. Lateral flexion for the spine. Besides working with the 7 movements of functional movement during our yoga practice today, we're also moving the spine in all directions. This is a very complete class. Inhale, reach the arms up, and then exhale, take the hands down. Now from here, we're going to transition from standing to kneeling. So think about how you might want to move from standing to kneeling on your mat. For me, I'm going to take my arms up as I inhale, and then as I exhale, I'm going to hinge at the hips. From here, you can take an optional half lift. And then as you exhale, you're going to fold. So it might be helpful to invite your blocks onto the mat, taking the blocks under the hands, stepping 1 foot back, coming onto the shin, and then the opposite shin. Now, you want your knees under your hips, you want your blocks or your hands under your shoulders. We're going to come into a supported knee down lunge. If your knees are uncomfortable in your space, take a moment to grab a blanket to put underneath your knees so that it's a little more cushy for you. Now look to your knees, make sure that they're hip distance. Gaze is going to be forward, and we're just going to take 1 foot forward at a time. So I'm going to start with my left foot. So I'll lift my left knee, and then I'll bring my knee all the way towards my chest. From here, I'm going to flex my foot because that makes it easier to bring my foot forward. And then I shift my hips forward. Now, as I do this, I don't want my knee coming past my toes, so I might shimmy my foot forward if I can press and go deeper. Now, notice that you don't want your body dumping forward. You want to have your blocks under your shoulders. So take the blocks where they need to go, and then decide if you want to keep your hands on the blocks, or maybe you take your hands to your left thigh, press deeper, gaze forward. Notice that deep opening at the front of the right hip. Breathe. Now, you could lift your arms up if you feel stable in your balance. And then from here, you could take an optional twist in your lunge, just like we did when we were in the standing lunge. This is just an option. You don't have to go for the twist, but if you'd like, you're all available to do it. Welcome to do it. All right, so on the next inhale, sweep the arms up. Now, as you exhale, bring the hands down the midline. Take your right thumb to your left thumb to your left hip crease. Left fingers are going to pull the flesh out for external rotation. Inhale, reach the right arm up, and as you exhale, lean over to the left. So we're getting back into that right side body, and we're also going even deeper into the hips. Inhale, reach the right fingers up. Exhale, take the hand down. So connect the hands with the blocks, and then shift the hips back so that the right hip is above the left. And we're going to take those 3 options on the other side. So just slide that left foot back, bring the left knee in line with the right, get adjusted, bring yourself back to that center point. Maybe you walk the hands forward to start. And know that we're going to do that now on the right side. So from here, let's move very safely with intention. We'll lift that right knee as much as we can towards the chest. Now, flex the right foot and then send it forward. Bring the sole of the foot to the mat. Press the hips forward. Notice if the knee is going past the toes, and if so, shimmy the foot forward. Now, check and see if your body's dumping forward. If it is, lift. Straight spine, axial extension. Now your gaze is forward. Option to keep your hands on the blocks, or option to take your hands to the thigh. Now, as you press your hands to the thigh, it's just a gentle push. Hands are not on the knee. Feel the opening at the left psoas. Feel the congestion release from your body. Option to stay here with your hands connected to your thigh, or option to incorporate a twist into this lunge. So maybe you take the hands off of the thigh. Inhale, reach the fingers up, and then as you exhale, take the left arm forward, right arm back. Twisted lunge, knee down option. Hold and breathe. Inhale, bring the arms to center. Let the palms connect. Exhale, bring the hands down the midline. Now, that right thumb is going to find the right hip crease. The right fingers pull the flesh out for external rotation. Inhale, sends the left fingers up. And then as you exhale, lean over to the right. So the left fingers are moving to the right. Side body opener, deeper stretch for the hips. One more round of breath. Inhale, lift the fingers up. Exhale, take the hand down. Connect your hands to the blocks. Gently take the hips back so that the left hip is above the left knee. Now from here, slide the right foot back. Bring the right knee in line with the left. From here, we're going to let go of the support of the blocks for now. Send your hips back. So we're coming into child's pose. Blocks can just come off the mat. Now, as you set up for your child's pose, I want to give you 3 different options today. The first option is going to be knees wide, big toes together, arms extended in front. If you want to honor your hips a little more in your practice today. Second option is going to be to have the knees together, legs together, feet together. And as you exhale and hinge at the hips, you're going to bring your forehead down to the mat or to a prop, arms by your sides. Now focusing on releasing the low back area. Also relaxing the shoulders. So if your back has been bothering you, this is one that you might want to take. The third option is going to be if you've been having any digestive issues lately. So this is something that happens to all of us. And sometimes when our digestion is off, then we don't feel very functional. So this option, you're going to interlace your fingers, and then you're going to take one of your thumbs to find your belly button. Now, once you find your belly button, you're going to cross the thumbs, keep them right underneath the belly button. Keep holding the fist shape at your hands, and then roll your body onto the fist. The legs are together. Now, I know that this one is really uncomfortable if you've got air trapped in your digestive tract. So you might feel something hard, like a blockage there. That's just air that needs to be worked out. So your fists are doing the work of pressing and pushing into the intestines to try to get some movement and a release there. So this is a posture you can take anytime you need supports for this area of your body. Just breathe. Enjoy whichever option you chose. Take one more full round of breath. 2 more rounds of breath if you're using the third option. And as you come up, you're going to lift your head gently and slowly on an inhale breath. And you're gonna work your crown of your head all the way up to the ceiling, coming back into that straight spine. From here, we're gonna transition to a comfortable seat. So you can take your hands outside of your hips and just lift your hips enough to take your feet out to one side so that you can come onto your seat. Bring your legs in front. And as you bring your legs in front, you might pull the flesh back from each glute just to get a little more grounded in your seat. From here, let's open the legs wide. Now, this is where you could turn and use the length of your mat so that you can have your heels on the mat, which will be more comfortable than on a hard surface. We're preparing to come into a wide-legged forward fold so that we can really serve and stretch our legs. Before we do so, let's stretch out the feet. Inhale, point the toes. Exhale, flex the feet. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Let's take one more round. Now, soften the feet. If you feel like you might need blocks for support in the fold, you can bring them in front of you. For the fold, as we inhale, we'll lift the crown of the head up. And as we exhale, we hinge at the hips. Walk the hands forward. Remember, hinging is one of our 7 functional movements. Now, as you lower down, you might be on your palms. This might be enough for you. You'll know if it's enough by feeling a stretch at the inner thighs. If your legs are coming up off the mat, shorten the distance between the legs. If you're lowering down further, almost to your forearms or 2 forearms, then you can take a block underneath the ribs to support, and then maybe a second block for your head. Now, if you don't have blocks, don't worry, you can use other props. You might not even need props. You might just fold deeper, using your forearms to support you. The longer you stay here, the more you're going to be able to release tension and open up. The more you open up, the more you're going to be able to fold. So maybe the elbows come out, the hands can stack, making a pillow for your forehead. Practice relaxing with each exhale. If you've noticed at any point that you've gone a little too far, know that you can always back out. You want to protect your body. And let's count for 2 more rounds of breath. We'll carefully come out. Back to a straight spine, axial extension. Now from here, take your hands underneath your knees. Just bring the feet forward slowly and carefully. Come into a comfortable seat. So maybe your knees are bent or maybe your legs are still extended in front. Whatever works for you is the right choice. In this comfortable seat, we're gonna take a couple different movements. The first one, we're gonna bring our palms to our thighs, just like we did when we were standing, moving the torso in the same way. As we inhale, we open the heart, elbows go back. And as we exhale, we bring the belly button to the spine, shoulders come forward. Inhale, open the heart, send it forward. Exhale, round the spine. This is going to be great for spinal mobility. Stick with it. So this is our seated cat-cow. This is an awesome type of breath movement to take to come into balance whenever you're feeling just a little bit off. from our seated cat-cow. We're gonna even it out. We're gonna come back to neutral. And we're gonna circle the torso around. So take one side of your ribs to the same side knee. As you inhale, send your heart forward. Take it over to the other side. Exhale, round the spine, belly button to spine, and continue to move in this way the entire time, keeping the hips grounded. Anahata Kriya, working with the heart chakra, cultivating love and compassion for yourself and sending it out to others. Notice as you circle around, particularly if your circles are bigger, you might find an area that has tightness or tension. If so, pause, breathe into it longer, offer yourself a deeper stretch. Your body will know how much it needs. Your body will let you know when it's time to move on. And as you move on, you can start to switch the direction. Opposite direction, still circling the torso, leading with the other side. You might feel into the side body, the hips. As you circle around in this direction, notice if you need to pause anywhere that feels sticky or tight. Pause, breathe, let that congestion go. It's so awesome to just get into your body and take time to practice and notice where you've been holding tension and just giving yourself time to let it go with the breath. We can serve ourselves. All we need to do is be present. If you're in a hold, know that in just a couple rounds of breath, we're going to start to come back to center. So maybe let the circles become smaller. And then we find center. Now from here, we'll extend the legs. Straighten the legs. So your feet are coming to one end of the mat. Bring your legs together as if you have one leg. Bring your feet together. Again, you might pull the flesh out and back from each side. So think about taking the hand and pulling the flesh back. Get more grounded. And then set your body up in the shape of an L. So this is our staff pose, Dandasana. From here, inhale, sweep the arms up, gather energy. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Now maybe your hands come to your toes or your ankles, maybe not. If not, that's okay. You can take your hands to your shins or outside of the legs. But what I want you to practice is folding each time you exhale, hinging at the hips, letting the spine round, deep, deep stretch for the back of the body, just like when we did our standing forward fold. Just a couple more rounds of breath in the hinge. Maybe you're feeling a nice stretch in the back space, in the hamstrings. If you're holding onto your feet, release. Inhale, slowly roll up. Come back into that L shape. Now, we opened up the back of the body in the hinge. Now we're going to open up the front of the body with a push. So take your hands behind your hips. Walk them a little further away. So maybe you've got about a foot between your hips and your hands. Now, keeping the feet together, you can decide if you want your fingers facing away from you, or you can rotate your wrist to have your fingers facing towards you. Now, for me, it's more comfortable having fingers facing away. We're going to take 3 rounds, so you can try the variation with the wrist and just see which one's working for you the best. Now, really pressing palms to the mat. At the same time, press your heels to the mat. Inhale, push the hips up. Come into a reverse plank and just look up to the ceiling. See if you can hold yourself here for a couple more rounds of breath. Feel the strength in the arms. Keep pushing those hips up. Don't let that booty sag. One more round of breath. You've got this. Inhale, push the hips up. Exhale, slowly lower the hips down. Now, if that was okay for your wrist, you can keep the hands as they are, or you can try the different option of rotating the fingers towards the glutes. You decide. We've got 2 more rounds. Now moving with the breath. Inhale, lift the hips, press them up. Exhale, slowly lower down. Feel the legs and the glutes connect to the mat. Know that we've got 1 more round. Inhale, lift the hips, press them up. Exhale, slowly lower down. Now walk your hands outside of your hips. Come back into that staff pose, Dandasana, and just shake out the hands. Shake out the wrist, shake out the elbows. Let any tension go from the arms supporting you in that movement. And know that we're now going to come onto our backs in a reclined position. So find your way down. I like to come onto my forearms one at a time. And then I'm check and make sure my feet are at one end of the mat so that I've got space to bring my head and my back down onto the mat. So as you come down onto the mat, I know it looks like we're coming into Shavasana, but we've actually got just 2 more postures to take before settling into our Shavasana. So from here, bend one knee at a time. Once both knees are bent, just align the heels in line with the glutes. Remove anything that might be in your way. And then from here, lift the feet off the mat. Take your hands behind your knees. So now, widen the knees as much as you can. Pull the knees towards the body. Now, as you pull the knees towards the body, just hold here and draw circles with your big toes so you're getting ankle mobility. And then circle the toes opposite direction. Now bring the ankles to stillness. Option to continue to pull the knees towards the ground. So we're not focusing on pulling the knees into the body. We want the knees to be wide. Think about the knees coming to the outside of the ribs. Now this might be enough of a pull for you for hip opening, or you might be able to lift your feet up, flex the feet, soles of the feet facing up to the ceiling, and then maybe the hands travel up to the ankles. Now, we only want to take this option if we can continue to keep the tailbone down. So if your tailbone disconnected, that's not going to be good for your low back, and you're going to want to take your hands back to the back of the knees. So pulling from the back of the knees or hands to the ankles. Now, if it's available for you to go even deeper, you might take your peace fingers, your index and middle finger, to hook onto your big toes. Again, check and make sure that the tailbone is grounded. Or your hands might hook onto the pinky edges of the feet. Deep hip opening, happy baby, Ananda Balasana. Whichever option you chose with your hands, pull the legs down, deep bend in the knees. At the same time that you pull the knees down, push the feet up, causing resistance. Feel into the hips. Option to stay still in this static pose, or option to rock from side to side, pressing into the muscles of the back. You might even explore straightening one leg if that's available in your body. Now, when I do this, I like to bring the arch of my foot inward, and I get a really nice stretch on the outer side of my foot. So if that's available, you can try that in your practice. Maybe you even straighten both legs at the same time. Gaze up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, bend the knees. Release your hands if they're at the feet. Take the hands back to the backs of the knees. Now from here, bring the knees together. Position the knees above the hips. Position the ankles in line with the knees, and then open the arms out, wrist in line with the shoulders. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, lower both knees over to the left. Practice keeping that right shoulder down. Inhale, lift the knees to center. Exhale, take both knees to the right. Keep the left shoulder down. Spinal twisting. Each time you inhale, the knees are going to come up. And each time you exhale, knees lower down, opposite direction. Pay attention to keep the shoulders down. Know that we've got one more on each side. Movement is following the breath. Notice how good it feels to move your body, functional movement. Now, once the knees come back to center, gently connect the feet back to the mat. Bring the arms down a little lower. Keep space at the armpits. Now, if your low back has been bothering you lately, I suggest taking the feet to open up out towards the mat and then let the knees come in. This will be a comfortable way to set yourself up for Shavasana. If you feel like you need a little more movement to get the wiggles out before you come into stillness, then you can lift the feet, keep the knees together, take your hands to your shins, and draw clockwise circles with your knees, just giving yourself a little massage in the low back area, feeling also into the glutes. Circle around opposite direction. Back to center. Release the hands. Take the feet down to the mat. Let the arms rest just as they were before. And then extend one leg at a time. So you're bringing your heels to the corner of the mat unless you want to be in the variation of knees bent, feet wide, knees together. So at this point of our practice, we're now coming into Shavasana, our relaxation pose. From here, we want to let our bodies soften and rest. Tuck your chin towards your chest, lengthen the back of the neck. Inhale deeply through the nostrils. And as you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Let's do that again. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, sigh of relief, let the body be heavy. Inhale deeply. Exhale, let go. Let the ground support you. Let your eyes close. Just give yourself permission to be here, to be present, to be in stillness. We did a lot of movement, functional movement, allowing our body to move safely. Squatting, lunging, safely pushing, gently pulling, hinging, twisting, and walking. Using the 7 movement patterns that help assist us get through our day. Now that you've done the work, simply be still. Let your body integrate all this goodness. Let your body be heavy. Let your body rest. From here, gently roll your head from side to side. Gently, gently. And start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe circle the ankles and the wrist. Gentle movements becoming bigger. As if you're waking the body up. Inhale, you can sweep the arms up and then take them overhead. And as you reach the fingers back, point the toes. Exhale, soften. Inhale, lift the legs, hug the knees into the chest. Gently rock from side to side. Take the hands under the knees. You can lift the tailbone and rock up and down the spine a few times, or you can roll onto your side until you come onto your seat. And as you come onto your seat, we'll set ourselves up to close our practice together today. If you're really enjoying your time of Shavasana, you can stay there longer. If it's really serving you, give yourself that time of rest and relaxation. It's awesome for you. Now, in our comfortable seat, take one hand to your heart center. Take the other hand on top. Taking your hands to your heart, feeling your own energy. Send love and gratitude to yourself for moving through this entire practice of learning how to safely move in a way that's functional. Good job on your practice. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It is my deepest honor to guide you in this practice. Hope to see you next time. Namaste.